Well, you guys sure like learning about bird poop, I guess. But thousands of you in the comments thought I could do better. So I'm back now to dig deeper on how bird poop could have ended up here in such a weird spot under my balcony. Originally, all my math assumed the bird launched the poop directly forward out the window. But was that a mistake? Commenters suggested lots of alternate trajectories, each more entertaining than the last. I love the creativity, but I had more information than I originally shared. The screen was in front of the window when the bird attacked. Based on the residue path from the screen to the window, the hit came roughly head-on and at a decent speed. We'll dig deeper soon, but for now, we'll rule out other trajectories. Okay, what's next? Loud and clear. Y'all wanted me to look at wind and air resistance. Buckle up, and remember, you asked for this. To start, let's assume that bird poop, like cows, are perfectly spherical. Now we can go to a bluff body drag table and find the constants for a sphere, which apply to this equation for drag force. Based on the tight pattern of residue on the screen, we'll assume the sphere turd is about 1/2 inch in diameter. Last thing is the density of the medium we're traveling through, air. And now we have the drag force dependent on only the velocity of the air around the body. Some of you tried to rob the bird of its glorious achievement by saying it was just the wind. Now we can check if that's possible. Here's the free body diagram of all the forces acting on a turd falling through the air on a windy day. Assuming the wind is parallel to the ground, the drag force will pull the poop in the direction of the wind until the horizontal velocity component is matching the wind speed. Simultaneously, the poop will pick up vertical speed until the drag force matches gravity, called the terminal velocity. We can calculate terminal velocity from the force balance. Assuming that the density of the droppings is about the same as water, we end up with a speed of 17 meters per second or 38 miles per hour. We know the dimensions of the balcony, and the poop would need to be flying at that angle or steeper to hit on target. So using similar triangles, we'll find the minimum wind speed to hit the window. We end up with 18.8 meters per second or around 42 miles per hour. I don't know what day the bird delivered our gift, but based on data from the nearby airport, the strongest gust of wind over the entire month of May was 45 miles per hour. While possible, it's unlikely to have only been the wind. Seabird, you contributed. Gold star. So, if it's not just the wind, we need to work a little harder. Let's set up trajectory plots using drag. Back to our free body diagram, we'll apply an initial position and velocity at time 0, the initial conditions. Now we can find the component forces applied in the x and y direction at that instant. Here's where it with a sh in front gets crazy. From this, we need the accelerations. Newton's banger of a second law tells us that force equals mass times acceleration. We'll take the component forces divided by the mass, and now we have the acceleration at this instant. Okay, now what? Just like the guy who peaked in high school, we'll move only a small step forward in time. With acceleration, we can use the equations of motion to find the next set of velocities. Then using the velocities, we'll get our positions. For making our free body diagram with the new conditions, the force balance is a little more complicated. Once we have our component forces, we'll recalculate the accelerations as we did before, and now the entire next row is complete. Repeating the process over and over again allows us to make as many rows as we want. We're left with a table of coordinates that lets us plot the motion of the poop with wind resistance. Here is a trajectory calculated with kinematics, and here is our new trajectory with wind resistance. With the method we use to generate coordinates, smaller time steps are more accurate. So try smaller and smaller time steps, and once the endpoint stops changing significantly, we're done. Now we have a system applying wind resistance. Let's refine our models, starting with launcher. Several commenters pointed out that I hadn't considered the vertical and horizontal position of the bird butt. Fair, but what bird should I model off of? Several comments told me that hawks can tua an impressive distance, and sure enough, they can. Based on this video, it looks like a strictly horizontal velocity wasn't a bad assumption. According to Dimensions.com, a red-tailed hawk stands at up to 16 inches tall. Pulling a U-Vol will count pixels assuming the hawk is that tall. It definitely seems like I'm overestimating the hawk's height, but that'll only improve the hawk's chances to hit the window, and his chances to hit on Tinder. From his height, we can find our new launch coordinates. How fast does the hawk need to eject now to be our culprit? Because we calculated the trajectory from initial conditions, I had to guess and check my way there. But eventually, I got 3.8 meters per second, or 8.6 miles per hour. Now, let's find out how fast the hawk managed to launch. We'll start with the distance from the center of the bird to the leading edge of the poop. Using Stats for Nerds on YouTube, we can find the frame rate, and as such our time step. Going one frame forward, and calculating the new poop distance, we have our total distance traveled in that time. Putting it all together, we get, wow, not even enough to hit the window. Before you even mention it, for the wind to have helped, it would have had to be blowing straight through the bird, the window, and the building, which isn't how wind works. But just for you, we'll calculate it anyway. To add wind to our model, we just need to update the drag, magnitude, and direction. To find it, all that matters is the velocity difference between the air and the body. There's no wind, it's just the velocity. If the velocity is in the opposite direction, the magnitudes add. If the wind is in the same direction, the magnitudes subtract. So we take the difference between poop velocity and wind speed, and use it to calculate the new drag force and drag angle. We successfully added wind to our model. Assuming a 2.1 meters per second launch speed, we'll guess and check wind speeds blowing straight through the window. The wind would need to be going 19.2 meters per second, or 43 miles per hour, which is annoyingly inside the theoretical bound for the month of May again, but there's just no way. No bird could have pulled off launcher. At least, that we know of. Okay, on to bomber. Oh no, we have a problem. Mr. President, a second poo has hit the window. Wait, this is actually a good thing. As many commenters pointed out, the second hit was there the entire time. It's almost certainly from the same bird at the same moment. The second residue mark measured in at 1/4 inch. I then got the coordinates for all bird poop remnants on the screen and window. Let's bring it into Excel and plot them. To do this, we'll need to enter a new dimension, 3D. Now we can visualize the trajectories. I brought the 2D drag model into 3D as well. My hypothesis is that the poops were launched at the same time, and so will have the same initial conditions, but are blown off course from each other by wind and drag due to their different sizes. Setting up two coordinate tables, we advanced the functions as before. Now we have two curves. All we need to do is find the initial conditions that lead them to their final resting place. It took literally hours of trial and error, but finally, an answer. It appears the bird could have been coming in for landing on the corner of the roof, or maybe dropping ballast before swooping over it. Regardless, the bird launched the poop near horizontal with a slight upward velocity, at a total speed of 5.6 meters per second, or 12.5 miles per hour. The poo breaks in two, and a slight crosswind of 2.5 meters per second, or 5.6 miles per hour, pushes the two turds to destiny. These trajectories fall within 1 centimeter of the target points. So, is this the final answer? Well, it's definitely the best I can do. Unfortunately, there's no way to verify my results. This could never be scientifically proven. So what was the point? Well, I turned a little bit of poop into an opportunity to educate and entertain, and I'm so glad an incomprehensible number of people enjoyed it. Whether this is the start of something, or the end of my 15 minutes of fame, thanks for watching.